don't have access to. Us as program managers, me, Richard, Kayla, that's what we're here for. We can find you help if you need it. We can find you vendors, paint, anything that'll kind of help you guys through the process of creating for this mural. GB, would you mind going to the next slide for me? So, site specific, this is an actual depiction of the wall. It's a blank canvas right now. It's a little bit, like I said, as you can see at the top, this is where they originally had a dump site that the community came together and cleaned up and have been monitoring and watching the whole time. One more time for me. The next slide will be the actual dimensions of this wall. As you can see, the wall at its highest point is 13 feet, a medium height of 9 feet. At its lowest point is 34 inches and is a total of 168 feet long. And like I said, for this project, you can apply singular as a solo artist. You can apply as a group of team of artists, whichever it needs to be. And yeah, that's pretty much on that one. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, it's a mural project, and they really, really want something that will encompass or show growth, passion, and something that's just really inspiring. Because this wall is technically 200 feet away from Springdale Elementary. So kids will see this. We've also been in touch with the art teacher over there. They really want the kids to be involved if possible, if just to create or knowing that they are represented in this mural.
Okay, so our next call is the Memphis Sports and Events Center in Liberty Park call to artists. And our program manager, Kayla Smith, will be presenting.
Thank you, Gabrielle. I was going to show my face briefly so folks can see me. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, this call is for the Memphis Center and Event Center. And this is for a mural. The budget is $75,000, and that includes an honorarium of $500 for 3 finalists. This call is regional, so it's eligible for anybody, whether you're living and working within Memphis or within a 150-mile radius. And the selection committee has an interest in a mural project that really reflects what's happening over there. So it's a very new sports center, as well as it's carrying a lot of different programs over there, like graduations, college fairs. So it wants to be a very attractive site for folks who are coming in who are local, as well as across the different state lines. Also, love for the art to reflect the history and other significant landmarks that are there in Liberty Park, such as Tiger Lane, Liberty Stadium, and more. And for the site, Gabrielle, could you please go to the next slide for me? Thank you. And these are just images of what where the artwork would take place, and then it will start over. You see of the HVAC unit. It'll start there in the east side of the building and carry out to the front of the north-facing side. Of also, I would like to point out the windows. They also, it's important that that it's important for the artwork to be able to be seen, both that folks can see inside and be able to see the art outside as well. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, that is it for that. If y'all have any questions about anything, feel free to ask me more about that at the end. The next call is for Jesse Turner Park, and this is a local call. The budget is $98,925. $98,925, and that includes $1,000 honorarium for 3 finalists. Jesse Turner Park lives in South Memphis, and we're looking for a large sculpture here. And the emphasis will be at the entrance at the park near the baseball field for both pedestrians and vehicles coming through. That's a very, very highly trafficked intersection. So we definitely want to be able to bring some nice visibility over there. We also want the sculpture to celebrate the neighborhood leaders who have left their mark in South Memphis community, as well as engaging the families that visit the park. The park is full of like a lot of shady tree areas. And again, it's just a very good, nice community space for people. And again, if you all have any questions about this, feel free to ask me more. Can we go to the next slide just so I can make sure folks see a better image of where we're looking for? Thank you. And so, yeah, this is the space and possibilities for where the sculptures could go. And also, just to remind everyone, if we didn't start by missing this early, but the deadline for all these calls will be May 26th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and that brings us to our fourth call. This call is a little different. It is not a city call. It's actually coming directly through UAC. Revisiting and Responding is a program that was born of two other programs that we started. So in 2020, we had a program called Bridging the Distance, which was an emergency response to what was happening, in our world at that time, and trying to create opportunities for artists to still receive project funds and be able to kind of survive during that time in a way, in the way that we could. We pulled from our operations budget to create a pool of funds for artists to kind of just respond to what was happening, and be reflective and be able to create and do something that maybe would, what we thought, bridge the distance between the fact that we were kind of isolated during this time. And so we got so many projects through that and wanted a way to continue to have an open platform for people to basically create, experiment, do temporary installations, and to be able to reach artists who are not traditionally mural or sculpture. So really opening the doorway to expanding our scope, because that's what that's part of our mission, expanding the scope of what public art can be. And so through that program and another program that was actually called Revisiting and Responding. This program was invitational and invited artists to respond to an existing project. We have over 130 projects, so there was a lot to be able to do with that. And so we wanted to keep that thought process alive, but also keep it open and fluid so people could respond to other things beyond our projects. And so this call invites artists to either revisit existing public art or respond to a specific cultural time or space. Projects may be temporary, performance-based, community-driven, or digital media. So definitely trying to open the door to many different mediums, whatever it is that you are currently working on. And we are wanting to support and seed public-facing ideas that are manageable and temporary. So through this, we were able to create $1,000 project budgets for artists. We'll have 10 available $1,000 project funds, and we will have 3 check-in points throughout time for this period. So we essentially want to give you the money and then let you dream, create, explore, and then be able to come back and report what you've done, whether it is through documentation of the piece itself, or we get to actually go to the piece. I can show examples of 2. So I love this example because our artist, Brittany Boyd Bullock, actually was a part of Bridging the Distance, was a part of Revisiting and Responding, and is currently working with us on some consulting things and working in our workshop series. So I hope that you're able to join that. I will talk about that in a minute, but Brittany started off with the Bridging the Distance program, created these gentle reminders that she was passing out to friends and family as a reminder throughout the pandemic that they were still loved, still there, still here. And her piece, I Am New Here, was created as a response to Nancy Cheer's piece in the Benjamin L. Hooks Library called Trees. And so she created these really beautiful drapings of fabric, and she had them custom printed with her own designs and interspersed them with the trees, and then had a performance of a choral performance throughout the space. So it was a really beautiful performance. I actually didn't get to go, but there's pictures on our website of what happened. And so this project budget may not cover something extensive in that realm unless you're able to, you know, maybe have some people volunteer their time or something like that. But we are excited to see what comes of this, and we're hopeful to be able to continue revisiting and responding annually. So hopefully that is something that you will be able to apply to over and over again, and that pool of funding will continually be accessible.
I just want to say, to add on to what GB said, all of our calls are competitive, just like any national or international call that you apply for. So this one especially is a great opportunity for anyone to apply for something that you might have had in the back of your mind, maybe scared, or you just dream really big and don't know how to do it. But it's an opportunity for you to get as wild and crazy as you want to as a creative person. Like, there is no host bar as where with some other calls you are responding to the needs and wants of a committee. So they will have certain things that they really want you guys to kind of respond to in your own stylistic way, which is why you will be selected for those. But this is one of those where you can really take it and either potentially build your practice the way you want to, but just dream big and go all out. So I absolutely recommend all of you guys definitely apply for this one. Like, I apply for all of them, but definitely apply for this.
Yeah. Definitely. And I echo that thought process too, because we're hoping that revisiting and responding is kind of an introductory platform to the thought process of public art in itself. And if you haven't experienced having a large budget or having to manage a full project of that scale, that hopefully this would help to start at an entry point, add something to your portfolio that shows that you have the capability to manage a project budget, manage an entire project from start to finish, installation, fabrication, all of those lovely words. And so, yes, again, like Travis said, please apply. We are excited to have 2 UAC artists as our selection committee for this this round. Actually, Brittany is on the selection committee, and Kenneth Wayne Alexander is also on our selection committee, who was part of our new public artist program last year. And so we just got a little bit of helpful hints here. So we love to see the inclusion of a letter of interest, a resume, and your CV if you have one, which you'll submit those things through the submittable platform on our website. The letter of interest is a major opportunity to sell your why you're interested as an artist in this project. What does the project or the site location or the community mean to you? This is your time to explain this very well. We've seen letters of interest that speak to a person's ability, but I think when you speak to your ability and your interest in the opportunity itself and why it's meaningful to you, that is very helpful to know. So just to say, we read the scope of work section in the call carefully and think about how you can speak to those requests. So when you saw those bullet point items of what the committee is looking for, it would be great to basically address those statements and those thoughts, and from your own perspective, say what you feel would help to address what they're looking for. How does this project resonate with your practice? Do you have a connection to the site or services provided there? If a specific community, neighborhood, etc., is identified in the call, this is an opportunity to connect your art practice to local history and culture. So a lot of times we actually become little journalists in the production of these calls, because we go and we dig up the history of the space. For myself, I've learned so much about Jesse Turner Park and the history of that space, as it used to be plantation land. And so it has a very deep history there that can be unearthed, dug up. And pretty much every one of the spaces that we have for a call right now has history like that, that's very significant. And it's a chance for you to learn about the city in the process. And then finally, why is your artwork appropriate for this commission specifically? You can pull on their heartstrings and say, you know, you guys really love puppies and I love puppies and I love painting puppies so much that I want to do it for you. So of course, you know, you can do that. Feel it's okay to, you know, put your thoughts on the paper, because the community members and the selection committee really appreciate that. They love when you take time to really connect to why it's important to them. And reference any experience with public art. So whether it was a group show that you've been in or something that you and your friends put together before, it's a great experience. It's an experience. It's a trial and error. It's something that you've done. So if you would like to take more time to explain that in your letter of interest, you can as well, but your resume should be able to speak to what you've done. If you have little to no experience with public art, take this opportunity to speak to why you are interested in working in this field and how it could help expand your current practice. And if possible, it's nice to mention people that you may want to collaborate with to showcase that, you know, I haven't done public art in this way before, but here's the research I've done on people that can help me through this process. Feel free to use us as a resource for that too. You can always reach out and email us to ask like, hey, I'm thinking about the sculpture project, but I've never done a sculpture. Who does that? Is there a fabricator in the area that I could talk to and get to know so that I can run my ideas by them first and then say, yes, this is tangible, this can happen, and you can write that down and let people know that if you don't have experience to showcase that already. Both standard CVs and resumes are accepted. If possible, include information about previous art installations, exhibitions, and public art projects. Include an active email, your name, your website, make sure none of your links are dead, everything's looking good, because it's just a bummer when you go to look for more information, you click it and it's like, can't be found. So we don't want that. We want everyone to be able to see your work, be able to see what you've done, and try to keep your CV and resume limited to 1 to 2 pages. We know you're amazing and great and do so many things, but we just don't need multiple pages of it. If you can put the best foot forward possible, you know, if you have to choose between one project or another to keep it to the 2-page minimum, put the best one on there, you know, showcase what you've got. And then if you are submitting as a team, reference any previous collaborative projects and combine relevant experience from each team member into your resume. And so we have examples of people who have applied as a team project before that we can also show you if you need an example of how they've put that together as a duo or a trio. Okay, we highly recommend that you meet with a program manager prior to your presentation day. So this is we're speaking it into existence, we're manifesting. So when you've made it to your finalist, to the finalist round and you're one of the 3 finalists, we do recommend that you meet with a program manager before your presentation day, so that you can talk it through with someone who has had that experience before, not necessarily from an artist perspective, but from the other side. And so that's kind of great insight to have. You want to make sure that you deliver all materials for presentation day in advance, if possible. We know things happen and timelines can shift and things get wonky, but we hope to have your things in advance so that everything goes smoothly for your presentation day, and you can coordinate that with a program manager. Please arrive a little early so that you can get set up and feel your best beforehand. We give 20 minutes maximum for presentations, and we suggest that you could do it in 5-minute increments. So 5 minutes about your interest in the project, 5 minutes about your concept itself, 5 minutes for background information, about yourself and supporting documents. So if you had contacted one of those contractors or something, being able to speak to that and showcase that ahead of time is great. And then 5 minutes for conversation at the end with the committee to hear what they're thinking. And so this is just a screenshot from our website. Sorry to the people who are virtual, you probably were looking at that for a while because my bad, but this is our website. This is what it currently looks like with these calls on there. And so I have that screen pulled up. I can pull one up for you, but it's listed in our menu section under calls to artists. So you would just click on the call that you're looking for and then scroll all the way down and you'll see the link to the submittable site. And then finally, take a deep breath. You've got this. UAC is here to help. That's literally what we're here for. So if you have any questions, concerns, just want to talk through it, want to know more about, you want to take a ride to Jesse Turner Park with us one day, let us know. We can do things like that and want to do things like that for you. Again, our website is uacmem.org. And our general information email is info@uacmem.org, but I also have our personal contacts in here as well. Kayla J. Smith, program manager's information, and I should have changed Richard to Kayla. So yes, it's just Kayla@uacmem.org for Kayla's email, and then Travis Washington and me, Gabrielle. And so if you need us, call us, beep us if you want to reach us. We are available and we're here again to help you. And also, I just want to put this reminder out. This workshop is actually happening 2 days before the close of the call. So you can come to the workshop and have one-on-one help with preparing for your RFQ. So please scan that QR code and register for this workshop series. This is our second session. It's being led by a current UAC artist, Tony Hawkins, who is completing a mural in Westwood right now, a huge large-scale mural that looks so good. He's halfway through and we just can't wait to talk with him because he's got great insight into the things that we covered, your letter of interest, your resume, and your portfolio. So he's going to be covering how to put a good version of all of those things together. And I think that's it. That brings us to the end. So if you have any questions, I'm going to go ahead